that this is where the highest multiplier in the economy is. If the government is to spend its money, spending it in public infrastructure projects is possibly the best way with the highest multiplier for the government to be deploying its scarce resources rather than on wasteful expenses.
No. I am on a different point. You are diverting or you're ignoring it. What is this 11,111 crore?
I'll ask the finance minister that when I get a chance.
What is the rationale for arriving at that number? Obviously,
it's an astrologically It's probably a shub number. That's the only thing that it can be. Number. They probably think it's a lucky number. It could be lucky for the Indian economy, probably.
You can't say that. You can't say that. You are scared to say that. Please, I don't expect you to say that because you are the media, the by and large tamed media. But I'm saying it on your television. This 11,111 crore is an astrologically inspired, invented number. Now, you please ask your next question and I'll answer that.
No, but my question, sir, was on if there is to be an enhancement in government expenditure, would you not accept that this is the best manner in which that money can be spent on public infrastructure projects rather than on wasteful expenditure or just dole-outs? Despite going into an election year and all the pressure about freebies or reveries of the kind that we saw in opposition manifestos, the government says if we invest productively. If we spend money, let it have the highest multiplier for the economy.
Who's denying that? Every government spends on capital expenditure, but I've already pointed out that this government spent less than what was budgeted capital expenditure. Now look at the quality of expenditure. The quality of expenditure, railway officials have put out this data. They are sacrificing or cutting back on ordinary trains containing second-class compartments, unreserved compartments. Huge number of trains have been taken off the system, and they are investing in Tejas, Vande Bharat, Namo Bharat, which is largely used by the middle class or the upper middle class. I have no quarrel with that. But why are you cutting back on the essential transportation of the poor? That's the question that must be answered. Why are you investing a huge amount of money in a bullet train where several people, several routes, there is massive overcrowding in the trains which run locally or in the backward areas, which is used by the poor people? See, I think, Rahul, you should do a split screen on your television showing what the poor people use and what the so-called the very rich or the better off sections do.
But Mr. Chidambaram, on a recent flight back from Bhopal, I had the opportunity to ask the Railways Minister this question about bullet trains. His logic and the government's answer is that, we need to have the audacity to think big. When the Bombay-Ahmedabad corridor comes, Bombay-Ahmedabad-Surat become one industrial corridor, it will not just be the money spent on the railway infrastructure, it will have a massive ripple effect in enhancing the economy of that entire zone. They're saying we're thinking big. The UPA government thought small, incremental. Therefore, India never had a big vision. Therefore, they're talking about Viksit Bharat by 2047. At least that's their pitch and effort.
Wrong again. After Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji announced the Golden Quadrilateral, between 2004 and 2014, the massive build-up of the national highway was under the UPA government. Since then, of course, 2014 to 24, this government has also increased the length of the national highway. There are some problems there. They are counting, they are double counting. The one way is counted as 1 kilometer and the return track is counting as a 2nd kilometer. But ignore all that. But between 2004 and I'm not claiming we started Golden Quadrilateral. Golden Quadrilateral was started by Vajpayee's government. But who built the national highways for 10 years between 2004 and 2014? Why don't you measure those national highways? Who tried various models for building national highway? Did this government come and retrospectively build the highways in the previous 10 years?
Okay.
I've heard of retrospective law. I've not heard of retrospective road building.
We leave it there for the time being. That's Mr. Chidambaram, 9-time finance minister. 9-time he's presented the budget, giving his critique of the 6th budget of Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman. Thank you very much, Mr. Chidambaram, for joining us with your thoughts. To get a response of how the government is looking at what we just heard from the opposition and from Mr. Chidambaram, I want to go across to Senior Minister in the Union Cabinet, Rajiv Chandrasekhar, now joins us, Minister of State for Skill Development and Entrepreneurship. Thank you very much, Mr. Chandrasekhar, for joining us. Now, let's take you through what the opposition is saying and get you to respond to the critique that we're hearing of the budget. One, and I'll just have that graph up on the screen, that while there's a lot of emphasis on public infrastructure, so public infrastructure getting a lot of emphasis, but as a percentage of GDP, the amount of money that we're spending, the percentage of money as a part of the GDP that we're spending on education and on health is coming down. They're saying that this represents the priorities of the government, that softer development indices are not getting that kind of priority as much as hard physical infrastructure. How do you respond to that? Minister Chandrasekhar, welcome.
No, Rahul, I certainly don't want to get drawn into this this absolutely nonsensical debate from the Congress party in particular and their UPA-INDI alliance in general. Because, look, what we have done for the last 10 years is a sharp contrast to what they have done in their UPA lost decade between 4 and 2014. And I heard, bits and pieces of what the former finance minister was trying to spin. Look, the fundamental point today in 2024, as the people evaluate 10 years of Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji and the 10 years of the Congress before that, is the following. The Congress UPA inherited, by their own admission in 2004 July, by the same worthy gentleman who was waxing eloquent before me, an economy that was robust, that was in growth, had huge reserves, and was almost a surplus budget. They took that performance, they took the programs of Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee, including the Golden Quadrilateral, increasing spending on infrastructure, and ruined the economy, left the economy and the financial sector and the investment space ruined by 2014. There is no arguing about that. These are facts. And I'm glad today the finance minister has said we will publish a white paper. Instead of constantly being sniped at with data out of context and information out of context, it is important for the people of India to understand really what the UPA and the Congress did in the 10 years that they had the opportunity to serve the people. And what really has happened in the last 10 years, taking a devastated economy in 2014, an absolutely broken financial sector which was beset with NPAs and crony lending, with no investments running away from this country, inflation sky high, to rebuild the economy and to take it from the fragile 5 where we were in 2014 to take it to the top 5 and really create a launch pad of economic expansion into the future is what Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji has done. And that is what this interim budget is about. Whether the Congress appreciates whether what we are doing in education, or the Congress wants to measure the amount of outlay that has been provided to one social sector or the other sector, I can certainly tell you, I can give you chapter and verse on how state governments of the Congress have dragged the national average down on employment, on social indices, on women's safety. Rajasthan under the Congress, Karnataka under the Congress, Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh under the Congress, how they drag these national averages down. This is an interesting game that the Congress plays. They love bandying national averages without wanting people to understand who's actually the drain and the drag on the national average, which is states that they are in government in.